Coming up next is our business news.
And in business, latest data from the Debt Management Office showed on Wednesday that the total debt owed to the World Bank Group by Nigeria rose by $1.3 billion in 1 year to $9.81 billion as of September 2019. The International Bank for Reconstruction and Development and the International Development Association, which make up the World Bank, have over the years advanced loans to Nigeria. The IBRD lends to governments of middle-income and credit-worthy low-income countries, while the IDA provides concessionary loans called credits and grants to governments of the poorest countries. Nigeria's debt to the IDA and IBRD stood at $9.41 billion and 409.51 million naira as of September 30, 2019, when compared to the $8.39 billion and $124 million in September 30, 2018, according to the Debt Management Office data. The total amount of loans approved by the World Bank for Nigeria had reached $24.68 billion, data obtained from the Multinational Development Bank showed. As of December 31, 2019, Nigeria had secured $7.14 billion loan from the IBRD and $17.54 billion loans from the IDA, according to the World Bank data. Meanwhile, the outbreak of the coronavirus in the central Chinese city of Wuhan is projected to slow China's economic growth, at least in the near term, and may potentially hurt its trading partners around the world. The virus, which has sickened more than 6,000, mostly in China, was the major focus in the U.S. Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell's news conference on Wednesday, following the central bank's widely expected decision to keep interest rates unchanged. While Powell noted that it is too early to say what the extent of the impact on the United States will be, he said it is a significant thing which will have some effects on the Chinese economy, at least in the short term. A Chinese government economist earlier on Wednesday projected the outbreak would cut China's first quarter growth by 1 percentage point to 5% or lower. Powell, however, noted that China's economy is very important in the global economy now, and when China's economy slows down, the effect is felt on all. And that's all on business news at this hour. I am Irene Ubani. Still ahead on Plus TV Africa News is our roundup on entertainment and sports. We'll be back in a moment. Welcome to Tea Time on Plus TV Africa, where we bring you the biggest entertainment stories and, of course, analyze them for you.
You can have both parents and still end up as a useless child. I see them every day.
Most times I worry more about where I'm coming from and where I am now, and that determines my next step.
Why are you sounding like Alibaba now?
Plus TV Africa, we're feeling good. No time to dull, everybody feeling alright.
Still make music and people are still buying. Sometimes I look myself minimal IU.
Akpala music is for mature-minded people. I got DMs sometimes from Malawi, like,
Sleeping early.
Jennifer Catherine Gates, the eldest daughter of billionaire businessman Bill Gates, and wife Melinda Gates, is getting married to Egyptian equestrian Nayel Nasser. Jennifer, 23, on Wednesday announced her engagement to Nasser, 28, via her Instagram page, in which she shared a picture that depicted a reaction after her new fiancé proposed during a snow ski trip. And elated Nasser also took to his own Instagram page to announce she said yes. The engagement comes just weeks after Jennifer's parents, Bill, 64, and Melinda, 55, celebrated their 26th wedding anniversary. The couple, who also shared son Rory, 20, and daughter Phoebe, 17, married on January 1, 1994. And that's it on entertainment. The very best in sports coming right after this. Novak Djokovic moved a step closer to retaining the Australian Open title with a straight-set semi-final win over injury-hit rival Roger Federer. Serbia's Djokovic was 4-1 and 0-40 down in the opening set before recovering to win the tie-break. That laid the platform for the 32-year-old second seed to go on and win 7-6, 7-1, 6-4 and 6-3. Djokovic, aiming for a 17th Grand Slam title, will face Dominic Thiem or Alexander Zverev in Sunday's final. Victory will mean a record-extending 8th Australian Open triumph for Djokovic, who has lost just 3 matches at Melbourne Park in the past 10 tournaments. It will also move him within 3 of 38-year-old Federer all-time record of 20 men's Grand Slam singles title, and within 2 of Spain's Rafael Nadal, who lost to Thiem in Wednesday's quarterfinal. And that's our news roundup event at this hour. For more news updates, please follow us at Plus TV Africa on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And do subscribe to our YouTube channel at Plus TV Africa. We'll be back later on with more stories making the headlines. Do join us. I am Benny Ark.
PET is turning waste PET bottles into construction materials.
Lagos produces about 30,000 tons of plastics waste in just a day, and only 30% of that is recycled. Every time you pass a pile of plastics, you pass a job opportunity.
At a first glance, this garage doesn't look like a factory, but more like a scrapyard. However, these young Africans have found success as they convert plastic waste to bricks for construction.
PET initiative is a project that came out from a project called Recreate. We started from the collection process first, collecting PET bottles from our environment, and then we now decided, oh, okay, what can we do with these bottles? We're like, we can actually make something valuable from it. So that's how the idea of PET City actually came.
We discovered that plastics were a big problem in the environment. But what everybody knew the problem as was plastic pollution. Now, we took a closer look to find out what was the root cause of plastic waste pollution, and we discovered that it was improper plastic waste disposal.
And let me make it practical. 1 kg of waste plastics is equals to 50 bottles. Now, can you imagine how many bottles is created? 30 tons. Like, just picture it, imagine. So we saw this as a problem, and a problem that really needed a solution.
There was no innovation in the recycling industry. What most recycling companies would do is they would gather the waste and send it off to foreign countries to convert. So we had no innovation here, and that was where we came in.
This innovative group have found a solution to addressing the bedeviling issue of environmental pollution caused by the large mass of non-degradable plastic waste, and in effect creating more sustainable and durable construction materials.
We met Standard Organization of Nigeria to test our bricks. They gave us validation that is actually stronger than the conventional one by compressive strength, water absorption, and a lot of other tests. So it's really an amazing project, and we actually are excited towards the impact it will have in Nigeria and also the world at large.
If you take a look at the building industry, cement is the most significant material you use, right? And replacing that with plastics, because once you're building something, you need a binding agent, that is cement. Now, we replace that binding agent for plastics. This is where the first stage of the production starts. So here we get a lot of plastics from different women that have been cooking for us. Over 20 women have gathered this amount of plastics for us. So now that he has gotten it into the sack, we just wait, then he transfers it into the production pan. So the beauty about this is we don't even have to clean these plastics because they are waste plastics. If we clean them, they're not waste plastics anymore. They are now processed materials. So production is very easy. Here is now transferring the plastics inside. As you can see, it's turning to color black. So why it's black is because the plastics are burning. So it burns to an extent where it has reached its elastic limit. So then we can start putting the sand inside. So as we keep putting plastics, we wait till everything is liquid. So right now it's getting to about 260 degrees. So as it's pouring the sand into the mixture, it gets kind of thick. So constantly we keep stirring over and over and over again. So it gets to that viscous level, because we just observe to an extent where we know, okay, it's ready for us to pour inside. For us to mass produce this, we have to come up with a better production process. So we came up with a machine prototype. One of our team members, a mechanical engineering student, designed a machine that can mix the ratio to which we wanted. This machine is being heated up by an electric power supply. It consumes about 24 kilowatts per hour. So that's a lot of energy to get these plastics into the state that we want. So for now, this is what we use, and it has been working well for us. So we shake it for any air molecules to escape. From the few tests we conducted, the compressive strength was 3 times higher than the normal concrete bricks, which means you can use these bricks for bridges, for construction sites that required a lot of machines that have a lot of weight, because in different parts of certain communities, you have a lot of machines go there and they damage the road. So if you have a brick this strong in those areas, which means that it would increase the lifespan, it would increase the duration to which there is road maintenance.
Plastics are especially problematic if not collected and managed properly. They do not biodegrade and could take 500 years or more to fully decompose. Hence the need for initiatives such as this, which leaves us in a better environment, creating more sustainable building materials and shrinking unemployment figures. For Plus TV Africa, Irene Ubani.
Many thanks for joining us on the show today. This is Plus Sports and Plus TV Africa. I'm Udoka Njoko, and we're here to discuss everything happening across the world of sports. And yes, we're still mourning the death of the legend Kobe Bryant, talking about the world of basketball, and everyone is still devastated on what happened on Sunday, the helicopter crash that took his life, along with his daughter, Guyana, and of course, 7 other people that were on board that helicopter. But I've got Maka Anyanwu right here on the show, and we'll be talking about the stories breaking from the world of basketball together. Good morning, Maka.
Good morning. Always a pleasure to be here.
I lost my voice yesterday. I was in the basketball courts. Yeah. I had to pay my own tribute.
I hope you did it for Mamba, right?
Yeah, I did it for Mamba, but I was
hit
training
out
some
threes.
other players. Yeah, a couple of 3-pointers here and there. And I was proud of myself yesterday.
Oh, that's good. All in Kobe's remembrance.
Exactly. Now let's start off with the results of games that were played early this morning. Interesting results, I must say. Talking about the game of basketball, I saw the game between Brooklyn Nets and Detroit Pistons. Brooklyn took that one, and Indiana Pacers defeated Chicago Bulls 115-106, and New York Knicks lost to the Memphis Grizzlies. San Antonio Spurs won against the Jazz. Portland Trail Blazers defeated Houston Rockets, and I'm wondering what exactly is happening to Houston Rockets. The Sacramento Kings lost to Oklahoma City Thunder. Let's quickly run through this result before we go to the other stories.
Yeah, Houston, a lot of inconsistencies. Yeah. That duo there, Westbrook and Harden, I'm a little worried. I mean, they do come out and play well on a lot of occasions, but I'm a little worried if it's enough for them to really do some damage in the playoffs. We know they're going to get there, but what are they going to do when they get there? Yesterday, Westbrook had 39 points, 10 rebounds. Harden had 18 points, but it wasn't enough. Damian Lillard has been shining. He had a 50-plus point game, 60-plus point game, and he had 36 points, a triple-double actually, 36 points, 10 rebounds, 11 assists. for that win. So Portland has been playing good the last few games, and I'm really excited to see how they're going to shapen up. Yes, we know they're going to make the playoffs, but again, like Houston, what kind of performance are we actually going to get from them?
Wow. To talk about the combination of Harden and Westbrook, we definitely can't compare it to when we had the likes of Kobe Bryant and Dwayne Wade. Dwayne Wade and LeBron James and all of that. Because I see, I might be wrong, but I see a bit of power tussle. Who wants to be the better man at the Houston Rockets between Harden and Westbrook?
So that was always the fear. You know, they play a lot of isolation basketball, the two of them. So it's like, how do you bring two players who are really focused on isolation basketball, bring them together, and who's going to be taking the last shot, who's going to be able to shine, someone's going to have to take the back seat. So it's one of those things that we weren't really sure what we're going to get from the duo being together. But the good thing is they do have a way of working together. They're friends off the courts first and foremost. So I think that friendship does carry on into the game and on the court. But I think it's a little bit more than just them two. It's the role players. It's everyone stepping up defensively, getting stops. So I think they just need to figure out what 2 or 3 things they need to do to win these games. A lot of times they're coming really, really close and coming up short. So I think it's just one of those things that coaching-wise, playing-wise, how can they rally the guys around them to be able to get these wins?
All right, let's go over to Kobe Bryant and talk about his widow, Vanessa. She has made her first comment since the helicopter crash that killed the basketball star, one of their daughters and 7 others last Sunday. In a post on Instagram with a family photo, she said she was completely devastated and that there were not enough words to describe our pain. The couple had 4 daughters, including Gianna, who was 13, who died in the crash. And there has been no word yet on funeral arrangements. Yes. Now, she has finally come out to, this is a post she put up on Instagram, and it was quite a touchy, it was emotional when I read this. But then she has said that they should keep lifting her up in prayers, and of course, for loving Kobe Bryant, Gigi, Natalia, Bianca, Capri, and herself. She sends her greetings to everyone who has supported them so far, and she still expects, of course, more love from the basketball world.
Yeah. Wow, that one was... So first she changed her DP on Instagram, so everyone's like, ooh, okay. There was a little movement, from her camp, and then she now came out with a statement. There's no words to really describe how she's feeling. I think she tried her best to put it in words, but obviously they're devastated. The whole family is devastated. But there was something really interesting in in what she posted, how they were, Gigi and Kobe they were in love with each other. So it's almost like right, not like it's right, but like them going together. They were in love with each other. Like, I think if Gigi was still around, it probably would have broke her. So I think she kind of shines some light on the fact that, how the tragic loss that they went together, that they had this unbreakable bond. They were so close, I'm sure, compared to the other daughters. And you really saw that. Like, when Kobe was courtside, who was he with? Gigi. When Kobe was, like, you just saw a lot of duo pictures with them too. So you can see the bond. Even on his Instagram, he had a lot of photos of Gigi. Not like he didn't have the same love for the other, for his other children. But you can see that there was this really tight bond that Gigi and Kobe had. My heart goes out to Vanessa. We're all praying for her. We're here just sending our well wishes and our prayers and our comments and just sending light her way, because definitely, like, the road, as she said, we don't know what tomorrow holds, but we're waking up every day, taking it one day at a time, and we just wish her and her family the best.
Yeah, and of course for Kobe Bryant and everyone who lost their lives on that helicopter crash, we say may the gentle souls continue to rest in peace. I saw a video of Kyrie Irving just before the game. There was a tribute that was paid on the basketball court, and he was so emotional. Even when he was being interviewed by the presenter, he couldn't hold himself. He kept on. He talked about what he learned from Kobe Bryant, how he was a mentor to most of them on the basketball court, and everyone is definitely going to miss Kobe Bryant. Even yesterday on the basketball court, when I spoke with a couple of players, it felt like they knew him personally, and they spoke on how they learned a lot from Kobe Bryant. Now, there's something about the Staples Center where we call it Kobe Bryant's home, where the memorial is supposed to hold. And I'm hearing that it's not even big enough to contain the basketball the fans of Kobe Bryant.
Yeah. So the Staples Center was used for, like recently, Nipsey Hussle. It was also used for Michael Jackson's memorial. But this one, the magnitude, they're like, I don't think this Staples Center holds about 20,000 people, and they don't think it's enough to hold the fans that will come from all over the world for this memorial. So one of the places that they're thinking about is Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum, which holds 77,000 people. And to be honest, I won't be surprised if they pick that venue and that place is packed.
I don't think it's still going to be enough.
Right?
Exactly.
I feel the same way. Like, even with 77,000 seating Coliseum, it might not still be enough because that's the love that people have for Kobe all around the world. Even people who are not even basketball fans or, basketball enthusiasts, there's still this sense of I knew him or I have something to connect myself with him. And I just think that it's just really sad. But I hope that whatever venue they do choose, that it does hold a large capacity of people, because there's a lot of people that want to pay their respects and say their goodbyes.
Yeah, from Shaquille O'Neal to Dwayne Wade to Kyrie Irving, every one of them will surely come out, even all the way from Africa. We'll see some of our own people go over there to pay their tribute to Kobe Bryant. And as we go on a break, let's quickly talk about Kobe and the reports have come out that they found the bodies and they can actually identify Kobe Bryant's body by his fingerprint. But I don't want to talk about the conspiracy theory that has been coming out all the while. But one thing I would love to say is, why are we going to blame LeBron James? Who would ever think LeBron James would have a hand in the death of Kobe Bryant? All over Twitter, they've been talking about it, but it's really sad. LeBron wants to continue the legacy of Kobe Bryant. No one should come out to slam him. And if for anything, let the investigations get completed first before we call any judgment.
First and foremost, I just want to say there are a lot of crazy people in this world.
True.
That's given, proven fact. It's so unfair for them to even connect it to. If you're a basketball fan or if you actually watch anything, you would see the bond that LeBron and Kobe had. You can see LeBron looked up to Kobe as like an older brother and someone who helped him pave the way, taught him things. I mean, any real basketball player, like growing up, almost everyone looked up to Kobe. So it doesn't even make sense for you to relate the two. And look at the last post that Kobe had before he passed on was congratulating his brother, giving him kudos. You can take it further, you can do more. So I don't even understand why people would connect the two. It's so unfair. And I feel in this very tragic and somber and devastating moment, is that the best that we can do? How do you connect the two? I think it's ludicrous that people are posting that and commenting, and the conspiracy theories on its own is a whole different topic that we could talk about for a long time. But I think it's so unfair, and I would just say to the public and everyone, just have respect, especially for the family. Imagine the family going through this time and seeing things like that. Like, it's really unfair. Very
unfair for the family to go through social media and see those kind of comments online. It doesn't really speak well of people out there. I just want us to pay respect to Kobe Bryant and everyone who has lost their life. not just in the plane helicopter crash, all over the world. Even just recently, we heard about the fire outbreak in Nigeria here, talking about Balogun Market. So anyone who lost their life, we say, may their souls continue to rest in peace. We'll go on a break, and when we come back, we'll go straight to the Australian Open, where the magic is actually happening right there. We'll be right back.
Hear the stories making the headlines.
The Pentecostal Fellowship of Nigeria. I'm here at Eunice Bashorin Street, where the
fire destroyed our transformer complete. Beat you to the lowest level you can.
Plus TV Africa, the big stories live here.
Big stories live here.
Big stories live here.
What we do not understand, we will stigmatize.
What you can see is the remaining of the tanker that exploded.
The suspect equally confessed.
Now 500 naira they collect them.
If you don't talk, then go beat you.
Now 2,500 they pay.
It's still Plus Sports and Plus TV Africa. Thanks for staying with us. I've got Ifeanyi Anene right here. She loves tennis. Yeah, she loves, I don't know which of them she loves now. Is it Rafa Nadal, Federer, or Djokovic? But I just know she has so much love for the game of lawn tennis. And she's right here. We'll be looking through what happened at the Australian Open, especially the shocks in that tournament. Welcome to the show, Ify.
Thank you, Doka. It's great to be back on the show.
Yeah, I would say Happy New Year to you.
Very true. Happy New Year.
Now let's talk about the Australian Open. Let's start off with Sophia Kenin, the American number 14 seed. She defeated world number 1 Ashley Barty in Melbourne Park to reach her first Grand Slam final of her career. And Barty, who was aiming to become the first Australian Open woman to reach the finals in 40 years, failed to convert 2 set points in each set. And the 21-year-old Kenin becomes only the first American to reach the Australian Open final, apart from the Williams sisters since Lindsay Davenport in 2005. And Kenin will now face, Gabi Muguruza in Saturday's final. For Muguruza, she defeated Simona Halep in the other semi-final with a straight set win. All our predictions, or rather, all my predictions went wrong for the female category. I was even thinking probably a Coco Gauff or Naomi Osaka, or somehow we get to see Serena Williams make the finals, but it's not to be.
Okay, so first things first, I've come to realize that women's tennis will always be what we call basketballs.
Yeah, like exactly.
It is so interesting. Mm-hmm. You can never predict who will win.
Yeah.
Yes. So, and that's because the game has improved so much. So there are so many young players that are bringing on their A game. People are improving. And I personally had predicted that Ash Barty will get to the finals. And that's because she's currently world number 1. She has won a Grand Slam. She knows how to show up on the big stage. And she's at home. She has the home fans behind her. But then Sophia Kenin as well had made her mark in Roland Garros last year when she defeated Serena Williams. So she also came with her A game. She had improved so much. I'd also thought that it was a big fight. It was a big fight between the two of them. 2 sets. They played a tie break. I also thought that Gabiye Muguruza, and for some reason I thought Simona Halep would make it to the final.
Through, yeah?
I had thought an Ashbati Simona Halep final because Gabiye Muguruza has been struggling with fitness. She didn't do so well in 2019, although she's a two-time Grand Slam champion. So she understands how to show up at the big games. But the game just ended, and Gabiye Muguruza is
in the final. Now, looking at this one, for your predictions and analysis now, who would you pick? For me, I think I would just go with Sophia Kenin, an underdog against Muguruza. Probably she would just nick this one against the lady.
I think I'll pick Muguruza or Muguruza, the way the Spaniards pronounce it. I'll pick her because experience has a lot to play, especially when it comes to the Grand Slam games. You know, there's a lot of nerves. If you watch the Ashbati Sophia Kenin game, they were making a lot of unforced errors, a lot of, and I think that has to just do with the nerves. The Simona Halep game was more it was a more tactical game, a lot of winners, a lot of rallies. That's because of the experience from the two of them. So I think I'll say Gabiye Muguruza will
win this one.
The Australia Open. But then, as I said, WTA is always basketball.
Exactly, because I was going to hold you on to that. I was going to hold on to that. But let's talk about the other game. We saw Dominic Thiem, the world number 5, defeating the world number 1 Rafael Nadal in four sets that lasted about 4 hours, 11 minutes to reach his first Australian Open semi-final in Melbourne. And Thiem, who has lost to Nadal in the past 2 Roland Garros finals, claimed 1 victory against the Spaniard in each ATP tour since 2016. Now, again, on the male side, I thought that Rafael Nadal would even scale through. Yes, maybe because I'm a fan, or maybe I'm being sentimental right now. But I thought I was going to make it through. But yeah, Dominic Thiem shocked Rafael Nadal in this one. But how far? Because Djokovic is still in the running. Federer is out of the tournament. He actually struggled in that game. I can't remember the name of the opponent that he faced now.
Tennis Sandgren.
Exactly. Now, who would win the male category? Don't even say Djokovic.
Okay. So starting first with looking at Nadal team. When I saw the draws and I saw that first of all Nick Kyrgios and Thiem are on the same draw or in the same segment quarter with Nadal, I knew that this was going to be a big one because Nick Kyrgios and Dominic Thiem, alongside Dustin Brown, who is outside the top 100, are the few players that always bring an A game when they are faced with Nadal. Nadal always has to struggle. He has to dig deep with them. So when you saw it was a tight game between Nadal and Kyrgios, I just knew that Thiem would pull something out. And that's because Thiem, they've met about 14 times, and Thiem had won 4 times until this meeting, and 4 of those their meetings that he won were on clay. So Thiem understands, knows how to play Nadal, and that's why he's called the Prince of Clay. You know, he's a very he had so many winners. He was reaching to all the shots. Nadal was starting to get frustrated. I was so happy to see that.
Really?
I predicted the win. I knew it was going to be very difficult. And if you watch the 4th set, you see that the game was already starting to change. And luckily, Thiem was able to close out. But then Federer has been struggling against Tennis Sandgren. He had a medical timeout, and they had to, people were scared whether he's getting injured, but sometimes players struggle. He's had to play 2 5 sets, which is, of course, demanding. And there are questions as to how he will play Djokovic. Djokovic is currently the most difficult man to beat on hard courts as it stands. So Federer is my all-time best player. Currently on the tour. So I don't have too many high hopes because there's the fear of fitness, there's fear of injury that happened, but let's see how it goes. But
it's a tough one. It's a tough. Now let's talk about Nick Kyrgios before we go. I look at Nick Kyrgios as the next best thing. But controversy will not let him, like we say in Nigeria, it won't let him be great.
We see people.
Exactly, because I see him as one of the best tennis players, the young ones, who would take over from the greats like Nadal, Federer, and Djokovic. But I feel like he lets himself drown in controversial moments that it even affects his games.
Yes, I agree with you, and that's because tennis is beyond the physical or athleticism. There's a lot of mental mind games that you have to fight. There's a lot of psychological battles you have to fight. So sometimes you will lose your nerve, but I think gradually he's starting to mature. Nick Kyrgios, Nadal even admitted that Nick Kyrgios is one of the best talents in the sport.
True.
And he just needs to, when it comes to the game, Nick Kyrgios is one of the best players. But there's a lot of, sometimes you're a game down, you have to manage your emotions, you have to, and that goes a long way. So if he puts his emotions in check, he will go very far. But then there are other players, young players that, like Dominic Thiem, Alexander Zverev. Alexander Zverev is playing Dominic Thiem tomorrow.
Okay.
Medvedev, Matteo Berrettini. These are all young players that have a very tidy game. And the future is so bright for tennis, both ATP and WTA.
Yeah. Now, as we wrap up, we have 30 seconds. You talked about experience. Now, for me, I would say, if you say experience counts in the finals that we'll get to see between Kenin and Muguruza, how come we didn't get to see Serena, who is well experienced more than these other people, the likes of Venus Williams, Joanna Konta, and co? Why are they not even making it to the finals? I know, Serena is just recovering from childbirth, and she hates that excuse. She said people should stop using that as an excuse for her. She just wants to play tennis. But experience counts. But why are we not seeing these people in the finals of these tournaments?
Okay, so Serena Williams was beaten by Zhang Wang, and that was one of the most interesting WTA matches at the Australian Open. Interestingly, they had met at the US Open last year, and Serena Williams beat Wang 6-1, 6-love. After that game, Wang told herself, Serena's power was too much, and she was going to go back to the gym. Serena Williams went into the Australian Open, that game, thinking, someone I beat 6-1, 6-love. I don't even have to play my best. And then she was stunned. They played 3 sets. They fought till the end. So it just, beyond experience, you have to come with your A game every time.
True.
Sadly, whenever...
Consistency.
Serena Williams is one of the most consistent players, female players of all time. That's why for the last 8 Grand Slams, she's made it to 4 of them, and she's played against different players. That means she consistently made it to 4 finals and played against 4 different women. That shows consistency, right? True. But then there's also a place of hard work and not underestimating anybody. She underestimated Wang, and she had to pay the price. The same thing happened with Coco Gauff and Naomi Osaka. Naomi Osaka had beaten Coco Gauff last year 6-3, 6-love. 6-love is a big deal in tennis.
Deal, yeah.
So, and then, Coco Gauff said, you know what, I'm going to be more aggressive this time. And then Naomi Osaka came into the game thinking, I'm playing the 15-year-old I beat 6-3, 6-love. And she was stunned. So there's a place of experience, but there's also a place for top players. They always have to understand that, or they always have to remember that when an underdog is set to play against them, the underdog will always come with their A game, because you're playing Serena, you're playing Naomi Osaka, you're playing Halep. But then that top player might not be in their top form every time.
True.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much, Ifeoma, for coming down.
Thank you. It's so good to be here again.
All right. And also on behalf of Maka Anyanwu for coming to the studio, we say thank you very much. And I hope you enjoyed the package of today's show. I am Udoka and Joko to enjoy the rest of your day.
Mona Lisa is all about me. It's all about you. It's all about our stories. The stories that never get told, but ought to.
Whereby water transportation does not make financial sense, it makes economic sense.
I was there for 2.5 hours on the floor. Nobody attended to me.
If we don't take care of the poor will take care of us.
It's about getting at the root of things and hearing from the horse's mouth.
We are 15 public hospitals to make them affordable.
In the whole of Africa, we are bigger. Nigeria, we sleep, eat, dream, fashion.
Those with the financial backing don't see fashion as an investment, which makes no sense.
If they do it for free, they won't have money for the next case.
Mona Lisa is about real life and real lives, yours and mine. Make a date with Mona Lisa, and together, let's ensure that the important stories get told.
Welcome to Tea Time on Plus TV Africa, where we bring you the biggest entertainment stories and, of course, analyze them for you.
You can have both parents and still end up as a useless child. I see them every day.
most times I worry more about where I'm coming from and where I am now. And that determines my next step.
Why are you sounding like
Alibaba
now?
Plus TV Africa, we're feeling good. No time to dull, everybody feeling alright.
I really like you.
I can still make music and people are still buying. Sometimes I look myself minimal IU.
Akpala music is for mature-minded people. I got DMs sometimes from Malawi, like,
Sleeping early.
This is it for upcoming artists to blow in Nigeria.
Welcome to Plus Trending. I am Vicky November, your host, saying thank you for joining us on today's episode.
Welcome back. It's Teatime on Plus TV Africa.
Practice makes perfect. I'm not perfect yet, but I'm a lot better than I used to be.
He's a king. He's entitled to marry 100 if he wants to.
Don't throw away the baby with the bathwater. Yes, we don't like politicians, fine, but they can also be sick.
I think that we also don't apportion the right level of prioritization to healthcare. Even in the presidential villa, you can't get basic paracetamol. Then what are we saying?
When you go to certain hospitals, if you're with a HMO, they put you aside.
The HMO guys have to work within a budget, which you cannot blame them for. How much will healthcare for Nigeria cost? Nobody can give you a figure.
Hey.
Let's be fair.
Yeah.
It is your right to seek health care anywhere you choose. If they're saying you can access care anywhere you choose, that's fine. But the taxpayer will not pay
the money,
especially if it's something that can be treated within the country.
Nigerian lawmakers resumed plenary with a bang as they call for the sack of the service chiefs due to the rising insecurity in the country. And the war between All Progressive Congress National Chairman Adams Oshomole and Governor of Edo State, Godwin Obaseki, takes a new turn as the governor threatens to expel Oshomole from the party. This is Plus Politics, and I am Felicity Ezewike. You're welcome to the program. Senators have asked President Muhammadu Buhari to sack Nigeria's service chiefs over the growing insecurity in the country. In a similar vein, the House of Representatives also made the same call. The service chiefs have been accused of running out of ideas to tackle insecurity being faced by the country. But that's not all. The minority leader of the Senate, Enyinnaya Abaribe, asked President Muhammadu Buhari to resign immediately due to Buhari's inability to curtail the rising security challenges in the country. Will all the resignation and sacking solve anything? I have a guest with me to have a conversation on this, public affairs analyst, Mokta Mohammed. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. It's really a pleasure, yeah.
All right. Just before we kickstart the conversation, let's take a look at the video at plenary where Abaribe asked the president his administration basically to resign?
Because we have to get to the root of this matter. I can only say one thing. Those who live by propaganda will die by propaganda. Mr. President, Nigeria did not elect the IG. We did not elect the Chief of Staff. We did not elect the Joint Chiefs. We did not elect the National Security Advisor. We elected the government of APC in 2015 and re-elected them in 2019. The reason why we re-elected them was that they continued to tell us that because they had the key to security, and the whole Nigeria voted them in 2015, and I agree with that. And I'm saying, Mr. President, when you want to deal with a matter, you go to the head. So we will go to the government and ask this government to resign because they can no longer do anything in this country. Mr. President, in conclusion, yes, Nigerians voted a government into power. And that government even said, if we don't perform, stone us. We are going with the stones to stone them now because they are no longer...
You saw that display. A lot of persons have been reacting to it. It sort of overshadowed a little the earlier call that the service chiefs should resign. Why he supports that? He took a detour to ask that the government resign. What's your reaction?
I don't think about the government resigning, I don't think that will solve the problem. Remember, we voted in this government for 4 years. So if they resign, are we going to call for another election? I think constitutionally that cannot work. We just have to wait for them. If you say the president resigned, and then he's saying the vice president should take over, that's a different thing. And if you say the government, the whole government should resign, I don't think in our constitution it's ensured like other constitution of the world whereby we could have an election in the middle of just another election because the ruling party or the president, the government decide to resign. I don't think we have that in our constitution. I think that is a way too far. But when you look at the security challenges, you see the passion that they said so because initially you always think that the rich are always free, the political class are free from all the security challenges. They seems to be the target now, and so I think that's why they are beginning to rise up to the occasion. And for the first time we saw the Senate coming together, and this is not partisan any longer. It shows you how the decay we have gone in the area of security. For both of them, both houses of House of Representatives and the Senate coming together and saying that, look, the service chief have to resign. Well, you could say it's always an indictment on the president because it's as good as saying the president, like he said, no Nigerian elected the service chief, no Nigerian elected all of them, and no Nigerians. So it's more or less like telling the government indirectly that the president has actually failed in the area of security. And you see, it's not something that it's just starting. It's something that has been ongoing. And like he said, when he came in 2015, the main mantra that this government was running was that they were going to defeat terrorism. They're going to bring Nigeria back to where we used to be. It seems that especially for the past 1 year or 2 years, the security challenges keep deteriorating, despite them saying that Boko Haram and banditry have been totally eliminated from this country, technically eliminated, let me use that word.
Okay, you don't seem to agree with the blanket resignation of the government, but what do you say to the call for the service chiefs to resign, considering that first, they've served their mandatory years for the country, and they've also, their tenure has expired and has been extended and has expired again. So what's your take on that?
I think the president have not done well in those areas. Look, in the military setup, when some said are supposed to retire, and you're not allowing them to retire, then you are not going to promote others said to come up. So what you're saying is the stagnation, and that also can bring the morale of the military down because I'm due for promotion. I can't be promoted because somebody else that should have been retired is still there. So it brings the morale. The morale is already low. And like they said, I think the service chiefs have run out of ideas. And I think they need a fresh input of people into that place. It's not about the service chief all together. But once the system has a problem, the head has to pay the price for it because the box stop is stable. I think it's generally the security system that we operate in this country. There seems to not be synergy between the various security arms of government. Just of recent, we saw a video was playing around where the police were the one going after the Boko Haram element, and the military didn't know that it was the police, and they started shooting at the police vehicle. So that shows that there's no synergy between both security apparatus. There seems to be rivalry. They have to come together. In as much as I believe that terrorism or Boko Haram is a non-conventional war, and it's not a war that you can eliminate immediately, because more or less like the guerrilla warfare. You don't know who is Boko Haram. They can stay within you. They can stay with you. But we need to cut it on the butt. We need to minimize it. As it stands now, it seems that every day the security challenges keep getting worse. Not only with that now, we have kidnapping there. We have banditry also there. We have the henchmen, the farmers crisis. It seems that the problem of overwhelmed the current service chief. And I think that was not fast-paced, where the president had a meeting with them today. And I think
the papers are reporting that it's a routine meeting as an update of what security...
see, when it comes, they say there's a saying that if I've forgotten that saying that if the dog barked, is it the bark then one, then the following day somebody died, you could just actually relate it to both of them. It's not coincident that they're having the meeting now.
But what do you think is stopping the service chiefs from resigning when the ovation, so to speak, is loudest? Because if this continues, the good works that they have done might be relegated to the background, and their persistence in staying in office might be another issue entirely.
Nigeria does not have it's not in our DNA to resign. We don't resign for lack of performance. We always seem to have a reason we think we could still do it, because you see the challenge we have as a country is that people come to the place of leadership and wants to remain there. Nobody seems to plan after leadership, what do I do? So when it's time for you to retire, you begin to see them look for ways to extend their tenure, because they've not gone into the society. They don't think they will be of benefit without being in power. That's why you see somebody will be a governor. From a governor, he wants to become a senator, and then he wants to sit in the Senate. You see somebody become the number 2 man in the country.
Are you saying it is a clear case of power intoxicates?
Well, you could say power intoxicated, then you could say lack of ideas, lack of vision. Their vision is just tied to just being in government. Because for the service chiefs to resign, it has never happened where we see the service chief resign in Nigeria. But like you said, there's always a tenure. So after your tenure, I don't see no reason why you could renew. It's not unconstitutional for the president to renew the tenureship of the service chief.
Expired and he hasn't said anything.
It has expired and he hasn't said anything. And then to make matter worse, they are not performing. That's the challenge. If the service chiefs are performing, I'm sure Nigeria would have been saying, let them be extended so that they can fight the war. But now they are not even performing. And then they are yet being extended. And the morale of the military is down. There's a lot of what we're hearing, the soldiers not being taken care of, some of them going into mutiny and other things. They need a fresh brunt of ideas. They need young people to come on stage and begin to turn around the security challenge. It's not rocket science to defeat Boko Haram. It's not rocket science to deal with kidnapping issues. It's not rocket science to deal with banditry. The president was saying some days ago that if we overcome the civil war, then he thinks we will overcome the current security challenges, which I agree. But then we need to look at what is the military like during the civil war and what is the military like now.
Yeah, because there seemed to be a resurgence. Let's take this conversation a bit away from what happened at the Senate. We'll get back to it again, but let's look at the response. It was almost immediate. Garba Shehu issued a statement, and he is describing Abaribe's outburst as foolish. And he's saying, he criticized him first and said he was an armchair critic and it does not represent the opinion of a majority of Nigerians. So my question to you is he correct?
He's not correct. Everybody must have gone a little bit above board, but he's saying the truth. You see, the way the government always respond to things that doesn't favor them it beat my imagination. When it favors them, it's good. When it doesn't favor them, they seem to come out and say, look, let me give you, when this government came into power, I'm diverting from it, we see the Transparency International came in and said, oh, the report was fine at that time, and they were excited about it. But now that they are saying that, look, the indices is bad, and they are beginning to say, no, we don't even believe in Transparency International. So the government seems to want people to believe that they are doing very well. Now, before now, remember, Femi Adesina came out and said that the security challenges now is not as bad as what was in 2015.
Yeah, that was just days ago.
Days ago. Yeah. And now the Senate is now saying that, look, the service chief should resign because they agreed that the security challenges is getting out of hand. So what that tells you is that the president's spokespeople just have to do their work so that we hear them, they are talking something. But in the reality, reality of reality, they know.
But isn't that unfortunate? Because they are supposed to be speaking, because we take what they say as a representation of the position of the government. So is there something flawed if we are now trying to separate a spokesman from the government itself? Because that seems to be card that is being played. Buhari is a saint, every other person is a sinner. Is that narrative working for us when it comes to the issue of security?
It's not working for us in any, just not only security, in every issue. It's not working for us. This government seems to be that they know it all. I've said it in several forums. Two things you don't play politics with. You don't play politics with your economy. You don't play politics with your securities. Because those are things that touch the life of everybody, whether rich or poor, whether ordinary or VIP. Those are the things that touch the life. So you don't play politics with them. You need to get it. You need to look for the right people to handle those areas. You become bipartisan in those areas. You don't look at ethnicity in those areas. But when you look at the line of the service chiefs, the line of whoever is into, you seem to be a certain tilt towards a particular region, and which is not good. So you're not telling me the other region doesn't have an idea, they don't have anything to add to this. And coupled with the fact that despite all this, most of these challenges are even coming from from those states that the service chiefs come from. Let me give you an instance. I like saying it. The time they have the Niger Delta crisis, the then President Goodluck Jonathan was the vice president. He went to the creek. That's where the amnesty deal came, because that is his area. He knew who to talk to. He knew when to go. As we're talking to, Borno State is the state of the current chief of army staff, Burati. He's from Borno State. And he's even putting the military university right in his own village. And yet, there's still so much of security challenges in Borno State and in the Northeast especially. So it's an indictment. The thing I say about the spokespeople of the president, both Garba Shehu and Femi Adesina, is that they just have to say something. We need to ask them. They don't have to say something every time. Reality is said. Let me give you, when the Christian Association of Nigeria came out to say that one, their member was killed because government did not approach the issues like they used, Femi Adesina came in and said that the Christian Association of Nigeria is behaving like an opposition party. You don't say that to people that are bereaved. That means you are not even sensitive to the pain that these people are going through.
Okay, I'm still staying with that statement before we leave, because you talked about certain aspect of sentiment in the matter. So I'm going to look at, there's a statement in that that Garba made that some persons are saying is either apt or a blow below the belt that is irrelevant and trying to distract from the issue of the conversation. And what am I talking about? His accusation against Abaribe as being somebody who allows traitors and suspicious characters to get away in the case of Nnamdi Kanu, whom he stood shorty for and was unable to produce. So in the light of the issue that is being discussed and a reference to Abaribe's role in Nnamdi, is it an apt response to deflate what this man is saying, or is it something that shouldn't be?
It's something that shouldn't be, because that's a different thing all entirely. Remember that that's another, we have the judiciary, we have the legislation arm, and then we have the presidency. Those are the three arms, the executive arm of government. Those are the three arms of government. When this bill was given to Nnamdi Kanu, it was given from the judiciary. And then if they have any objection at that time to see him as a traitor or whatever, they should have said it. And remember, Abaribe never came out to support the movement of the sovereignty of the IPOB. He never came out to support them in any area. He was just looking for a way for soft landing because at that time the Southeast was becoming more volatile. There was tension in the air, and they were looking for how to politically solve that situation. And he came in there to help the regime. That's what I say, because it was an agreed thing for Nnamdi Kanu to be granted bail. At that time, the International Committee already were already on Nigerian case because of the detention without trial of Nnamdi Kanu. Now, let's take it this way. After Aberebe gave the bail condition for him and he was left out, he came out, who was in his place to make sure that Nnamdi Kanu does not leave the country? In their own eyes, he left the country. So who's is to blame? That is the same thing. That's an indictment on the security apparatus. Because if somebody is a security risk, he needs to be watched.
Okay, I want to refer you to, we'll still get back to some of the other issues from the National Assembly, but I want to refer you to a recent update from the European Parliament of January 16, and what the observation that they made, that's what I want to mention. They're saying that there is no significant progress in the fight against Boko Haram and Islam terrorists. In its resolution of January 16, remarks that the security situation in Nigeria has deteriorated significantly, with insurgents turning the Maiduguri, Damaturu, and surrounding routes into dead zone. We also have the alarming Global Terrorism Index of the Institute of Economics and Peace, which ranked Nigeria as the third country with the highest level of terrorist activity in 2019. This is after Iran and Afghanistan. So if you take that and juxtapose it with the president's refusal to either sack the service chiefs or have them tender their resignation, what are our options if the president chooses to keep the service chiefs in spite of the outcry for them to leave? What possible scenario would we have?
Unfortunately, we don't have any scenario. The president is the most powerful person in the country, and he decides who he appoint and who to work with. So the only thing Nigerians can do, we can do what we keep doing. We keep talking. The Senate have joined majority of Nigerians to talk that the president needs to do something in the area of leadership, especially for the service chiefs. And we shouldn't forget that the service chiefs does not just involve, it involves both the police, both the various, the Navy, the Air Force, the Army, all security apparatus. That is what they are saying. So we shouldn't not just narrow it not only to the war with terrorists. We also have to look at the war we fight internally, also with security challenges that we have in between the kidnapping incident, the banditry incident, the cattle incident, the herdsmen, farmer crisis. All this is an indictment on the security apparatus. So what we need now, the police, remember even before the coming in of this new IG, it was almost like the other IG wanted an extension because he saw the president giving the service chief an extension, but that didn't play out well for him. So I think it's right time we need to create a system. If we are going to be there, and the annoying thing about the service chief is that they are retired, they spend over 35 years in service. Their age also is the age of retirement. They are over 60. They have spent over 35 years. Everything seems to be against. Are we saying we don't have capable people in the military to take over any longer? Are we saying the Nigerian Defense Academy, the War College, the Institute of Training in Jos, we have not been able to train anybody to take place of leadership in the military? That is a big indictment on the system.
Okay, let's go back to what played out at the Senate. Senator Omar Agege, when the conversation still on security, they started talking about state police, having state police. That conversation came back again. But there was something he said that caught my attention. And he said that the same state governors that are agitating for state police are the same ones that are unable to pay salaries of workers. And he also said something, if we create state police, we will go back to the Nigerian police and have the same challenges, if not worse. Because that's one suggestion to salvage the security situation in this country. Does he have a point there?
I'm not in support of state police.
Why do you?
We are not ripe for state police, because everything seems to be political. It will be a state police. Just look at it. Even the federal police that the governors ordinarily should not have control over. They still have control over them in trying to deal with their with their opponent, the opposition. So you could imagine a situation whereby you have a state police. It will be used to the advantage of it. We, as a country, we are not right for that. I personally feel we are not right for that yet. You need to see even thuggery when we come to politics. So most of the people that will find their way into the state police will be people that have been working with the political class, I can assure you. People that have not been trained. It's not just being a security outfit or becoming like a police or the military. It's not just something you just wake up a day and give everybody armed to be. They must be trained. Let me tell you, I said this scenario. Those days, the military was a pride profession because people go into the military for the sake that they want to serve the nation. Now, majority of the people that go to the military, they go to the military by accident because they are looking for a job. So military is a profession that you need to have the passion. So as it stands now, if we are talking about state police, like Omar Gege said, we've not even been able to pay salaries. So how much is going to be the salaries? How are we going to find funding for them to be equipped? How modern material will they come? How will this material come in? Knowing fully whether security is an exclusive right of the federal government.
All right, before I let you go, I'm told we're done with time for this segment. If you were to see the president right now, what would you say to him as regards the situation with the service chiefs?
I'll tell him to sack them, point blank, and I'll tell him to get somebody else to come in. Within the military, the morale is low. He needs to bring the morale high. He needs to sack the service chiefs. He needs them to go with their colleagues and bring in fresh ideas with fresh people. There will be an end to the insurgency.
Thank you very much for your thoughts so far.
Thank you.
All right, we'll go for a short break now, and when we return, the update on the rift between the two elephants in Edo State is up next for discussion. Stay with us.
It for upcoming artists to blow in Nigeria.
Welcome to Plus Trending. I am Bookie November, your host, saying thank you for joining us on today's episode.
Welcome back. It's Teatime on Plus TV Africa.
Practice makes perfect. I'm not perfect yet, but I'm a lot better than I used to be.
He's a king. He's entitled to marry 100 if he wants to.
We are not yet at a point where a lawyer like Fashola should be the Minister of Housing. We are not there yet.
But what about the social implications that are much more than an architect?
Even if we get a 3-digit number, will our computers work?
There is no hope. Let's not deceive us.
But it doesn't mean that there isn't hope, because I believe so that there is hope.
Oh, you must be with one woman. You must be with, these are Igbo ways. African
your wife is in on it, we have no problem.
Different.
We have that value system that we got from our royal days and everything. That gives us a sense of identity.
My question is, who is the we?
Which part?
That's going to allow for an Igbo presidency in 2023. Because I mean, it is not you and I.
If we want to have the last presidency based on rotation,
yes, then
we better just go to the Southeast, finish with him, and then say the post is now open.
The war between the All Progressive Congress National Chairman Adams Oshomole and Governor of Edo State, Godwin Obaseki, has definitely not come to an end, as the governor has threatened to expel the national chairman of the All Progressive Congress if he continues to undertake disruptive activities in the state's Edo APC. When will this war end? And is the welfare of the Edo State people being put into consideration at all? I still have my guest with me, public affairs analyst, Mokhtar Mohammed.
Thank you.
Thank you for staying. Okay. 2 elephants are fighting in Edo State. That happens to be your home state.
That happens to be my state.
Okay, so let's look at it this way. The governor has not threatened. He has actually said that the national chairman has been expelled from the party, and if he's not, has been suspended rather, and if he's not careful, he will be expelled from the party. Let me start from there before we go to other areas. Does he have the power to do that?
It's laughable. Because he does, well, you could say that according to the constitution of APC, you go as well. If you want to suspend a national chairman, it starts from the ward level of his party and his local government, and also it's even as long as it's local government. And you first of all start with your local government. So you belong to the ward level of your local government, not even the local government at the ward level, which happens to be like the councilling level of your local government. And if you look at that, then you know that even with this now, Oshiomhole has been suspended by the ward level of his council in his local government. But you need to look at it as a fraction. It's a faction in Edo State. So one faction is suspending, while other faction is saying, no, you're still the chairman. It's laughable because I don't know how it works for the national chairman of the party to actually be expelled by the governor of Edo State. I think it's a fight that is going out of hand. Unfortunately, I think the APC national level and the APC state level seems not to have any magic mods to stop this scale of problem between the national chairman and the governor of Edo State, unfortunately.
He was there for a rally a couple of days ago, and the state governor is saying that the government is saying that there is a ban on rally and he is disrupting the peace. Again, I ask, what is going on with, the government? Do they have the right, actually? Because we have a former commissioner in that country that is saying that it is against the constitution to stop people from having a public rally.
Yes, remember the legal side of that thing. I think that measure was brought in by Gani Fawami some time ago, where the Supreme Court gave that everybody has freedom of association, freedom of speech. As long as you can hold rally, you even don't need to take permission from the police to hold any rally. Constitutionally, you don't need to take permission from the police to hold any rally. Now, looking at that, but when you look at political rallies, it's a different ball game, because we're made to know that you are not supposed to do any political rally after an election. There's a particular time, there's a particular time whereby rallies are supposed to
There's an explanation that they are given, though, not from the Obaseki faction. The Oshiomhole faction is saying that it is an event to welcome people who were decamping from the PDP to the APC.
It's just a show of power. If you look at it, Oshiomhole wanted to do such thing in Benin, Edo State, which happened to be where Obaseki comes from. You remember the rally he wanted to do to welcome Issa Yamu to the party. That rally, he thought he had the approval. It was going to be a big rally, but even the IG himself stopped that rally from going on. I remember Oshiomhole was so upset, and while he told the IG was partisan, that was in the area of control of Obaseki. Now, where this rally actually happened to be the local government in Esako, where Adam Oshiomhole comes from. And remember also that anytime there's a brawl in Esako, Adam Oshiomhole seems not to accuse Obaseki. He seems to accuse the deputy governor, Shaibu, for that. So it's when it comes to the Esako side, it's a political struggle because between the deputy governor Shaibu and Adam Oshiomhole. When it comes to the area in Benin also, unfortunately, it's still the struggle between Obaseki and Adam Oshiomhole. Now, Adam Oshiomhole is looking for a way. That's why he's bringing Yamu into the picture to be that it's going to be a war between Yamu and Obaseki. It's all politics playing out.
Power play. But considering the fact that Oshiomhole is not just a comrade that is in Edo State, he is the national chairman. I think that's the word.
Yeah.
National chairman of the APC. He should be the one that is bringing everybody together. So what worries you about this particular situation in Edo State? Does it undermine what the APC claim that they're building?
I don't think APC is building anything. If you watch, remember even the governor of Plateau State said it recently, that he doesn't think APC will survive after Buhari is out of power. So it seems to be the unifying factor of APC happened to be President Muhammadu Buhari. There seems to be a party that has not got its act together. They seem to go different way. Today is the governor Oshomole. Remember before now, even the governors forum of the APC wanted Oshomole sacked as the chairman of the APC. It took the intervention of the president for Oshomole to still be the national chairman of APC. So when you look at it that way, you realize that Adam Oshomole seems to be losing grip of the party itself, because it has been proven all over that the governors are the most powerful people in any party. So, and as it stands now, most governors are not in supportive of Adam Oshomole's way of leadership. And most of this government have made this known publicly and also even to the president. Remember recently he had war of words with even the then governor of Imo State, Rochas Okorocha, when he even was a member of APC. So it has been a fight that Oshomole, I don't think he has the backing of the APC leadership hierarchy.
Is it still not distracting? Because there are he has other, should I say, constituents across the country that should be getting his attention. Isn't the drama in his home state a distraction from his responsibility as well?
You need to look at it that if you become the national chairman of a party, why you become the boss of all APC all over the country, not just the state. You need to begin to ask questions. Why is Oshomole having problem in Edo State, which should be his base? Because of his leadership style. Remember, I keep saying it, you don't bite the finger that feed you. Gaius Obaseki came through the system that he's fighting now, unfortunately. So that shows you that there's a fundamental problem, the system. And remember that Adam Oshomole has fought this system to stand still. And that system I'm talking about is the system of godfatherism.
But wouldn't you say that's exactly what is playing out?
That's what is playing out. And that's why the governor now and the deputy governor is saying, the deputy governor especially, who happened to be the foot soldier of Adam Oshomole, is saying everything I'm fighting against, he taught me that.
All right, let's look at another aspect of this. Now, Obaseki has said in the statement when he was talking to council chairman, he said something to the effect that Comrade Oshomole stands suspended from the party and in due course will expel him if he does not behave. Where I want your attention is the party does not belong to him, it belongs to all of us. And he also said something about him being the governor, and he's going to show him that he is the governor. Where I'm going to is the response by the immediate past deputy whip of the State House of Assembly, Pali. And he's describing the governor's comments as repressive and jackboot politics. And he also wondered why it is that receiving defectors of a party is seen to be flouting government rules. What's your reaction?
According to the constitution, or according to the political, whether it's their constitution, whether it's their manifesto, the leader of the party in the state is the governor of the state. So if you are going to receive any defectors from any party, the governor of the state, who is the leader of the party, should be there. That is what it said. That's how it's played. Remember that APC as itself cannot, in Edo State, cannot stand without the financial support of the governor. And that is why the governor, if you look at what he was saying, he said they didn't have a befitting secretariat when Oshomole was the governor. He has given them a befitting secretariat now. So you see that he is the leader of the party in the state. That even if it comes to the national level, when maybe they want to go for a national convention, is the leader of the party of the state. He has more power in the state than Adam Oshomole.
What is the likely outcome? What likely outcome do you see in this drama? Because it seems to have been dragging for quite a while. And the Edo people, whom you happen to be one, what is your fate?
I think the Edo people are enjoying the drama. Because what is happening now is that Gaius Obaseki has to work to impress the Edo people, knowing that he doesn't have the backing of the national chairman of the party, with Adam Oshomole. So he needs the backing of the ordinary Edo people to be able to
So
even
you're
win.
basically saying that it's a good thing for...
It's a good thing because it's a good thing to advantage of Edo people because Guy Obaseki is not the normal politician. He's a technocrat that was brought into politics. So he doesn't have the political crowd like the full soldiers. So that's where the deputy governor held switch for him. So it's good for the Edo people because the governor Obaseki now have to win the people of Edo State, the majority people of Edo State, for him to be able to be in power.
But is he doing that with this distraction? Isn't he distracted as it stands now?
I think if you look at the area of development, if you've been to Edo State or recent, you will say that he's not, he maybe he could have done better without this. But I think he's doing the bit that he can, and he's doing a little bit fairly better for the Edo people. I think so.
I'm afraid that's where we'll have to stop for now. Thank you very much for coming on the program tonight.
It's a pleasure being here.
Right, we'll go on a short break for our Plus report, and when we come back, I'll give you my take. Stay with us.
The federal lawmakers from Plateau State are accusing the federal government of turning a blind eye as lives and property are lost on the plateau on a daily basis. They say despite these killings, which have been ongoing for several years, no culprits have been brought to book, a situation which has become worrisome.
Recently, 2 girls were shot in the market and killed, aged between 19 and 12. And about 4 are also receiving treatment in the hospitals. And these have continued. Sometimes people will go to the farm and they won't come back. We'll be looking for them, and after days, they will find their corpse somewhere. And these have continued.
Government does not only seem complacent, but also condoning these hoodlums and probably protecting them by dealing with the issues with kid gloves. Because no single prosecution of those arrested over the years, no categorical statement and policy to fight this menace to finish. Even when killer herdsmen were designated and referred to as the 4th most dangerous terrorist gang in the world, our government didn't classify them as such.
The lawmakers are calling on President Muhammadu Buhari to take the bull by the horn and do the needful. They are also calling on the international community to come to their aid.
We call on Mr. President to show sincerity and commitment, to match words with actions, to secure all Nigerians wherever they are. And as Commander-in-Chief, he should provide security agencies with modern equipment, resources, and the political will to make them succeed in this venture. We call also on the international community to save our people from being extinct, going by the numbers killed every day, which is alarming and is a cause for concern.
Amadine Uyi, Plus TV Africa.
Doing the same thing over time without a tweak in tactic would yield the same result, and to expect something different is insanity. These were the words of the House of Representatives member Abubakar Fulata. It is imperative that President Muhammadu Buhari heed advice and let the service chiefs go. Fresh ideas are needed in the management of the country's security situation. Besides that, their resignation or removal will allow for the promotion of other deserving officers in the armed forces. A lot has been said already, even tonight, by our guests. I urge Mr. President to listen and prioritize the country's security over any other interest that he may have. And that's how we wrap things up tonight. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.
Welcome to What Are You Saying? #ways.
These girls that are being trafficked, most times they are told that they're going there to work.
Absolutely.
Without even knowing who they're going to meet.
Absolutely. Polygamy is causing poverty, backwardness in the north. I think we should put a law. Have just one child. Working with a lot of tradesmen in Nigeria, I mean, my first few years was kind of hard, but he who pays the piper,
It takes the tune. The type of architecture you see in New York, you see 60, 80-story buildings, is because they have a strong economy.
What has been your biggest challenge? Availability of like machines, materials. You know, we're very, very limited in what we have.
Somebody says, oh, why am I putting in so much reinforcement? I can do it cheaper. I know the last project I did, there was no problem. You just need one bad mistake, you know, and the implication is life.
We are not yet at a point where a lawyer like Fashola should be the Minister of Housing. We are not there yet.
But what about the social implications that are much more than an architect?
Even if we get a 3-digit number, will our computers work?
There is no hope. Let's not deceive us.
But doesn't mean that there isn't hope, because I believe so that there is hope.
Oh, you must be with one woman. You must be with these are Igbo ways. African
as your wife is in on it, we have no problem.
Different.
We have that value system that we got from our royal days and everything. That gives us a sense of identity.
My question is, who is the we?
Which part?
That's going to allow for an Igbo presidency in 2023. Because I mean, it is not you and I.
If we want to have the last presidency based on rotation,
yes, then
we better just go to the southeast, finish with him, and then say the post is now open.
Seize it.
1991 as part of Mariam Babangida's Better Life for Rural Women project during her tenure as First Lady, showcasing the skill and creativity of women potters in Oshafa community. Sadly, the center, which was a major tourism attraction site and could boast of visits from former U.S. President Bill Clinton, former Egyptian military and political leader Hosni Mubarak, one-time British Prime Minister Tony Blair, and the former Swiss Vice President Ruth Mesler, has now become a shadow of itself. Plus TV Africa, in collaboration with Google Nigeria, alongside media practitioners, journalists, and social media influencers, visited the famous Pottery Center to showcase it as one of the important landmarks on Google Maps in Abuja, Nigeria.
Google Maps has transit information for nearly several thousand agencies, which means transport agencies for all around the world who provide transit for people, and more than 3.8 million stations in the world. Over 1 billion kilometer worth of transit results every day. And that's mind-blowing.
We were given a demonstration of the local way of making a pot such that designs are achieved using local tools. For example, twisted strings or notch wood over the surface of the clay.
She tends to go round and round about the pot until she achieves the desired shape and height. Then there are some tools equally here she has that she used to equally design it, then shaping it, then smoothing it. You have to turn and turn. She has to turn around so that the thing will be, the wall will be even. If you don't turn, the wall will not be even. The essence of she turning is for the wall to be round, for the clay to be even round. You can see one other tool here. That one is like a rag.
Are you serious? Out of that small. How did she do it? Wow. If they didn't show you, it's magic. This is down. Wow. Magic.
That's how stars go.
The range of beautiful products created include incense burners, teapots, beads, plates, candle stands, water jars, cooking pots, bowls, and flasks. The people of the Oshafa community have been relentless in sustaining this ancient tradition of pottery making while they hope the government will come to their aid in terms of investment and well-packaged products for exportation, which will generate more revenue and better their means of livelihood. Elsie Godwin reporting for Plus TV Africa.
PET is turning waste PET bottles into construction materials.
Lagos produces about 30,000 tons of plastics waste in just a day, and only 30% of that is recycled. Every time you pass a pile of plastics, you pass a job opportunity.
At a first glance, this garage doesn't look like a factory, but more like a scrapyard. However, these young Africans have found success as they convert plastic waste to bricks for construction.
PET initiative is a project that came out from a project called Recreate. We started from the collection process first, collecting PET bottles from our environment, and then we now decided, oh, okay, what can we do with these bottles? You're like, we can actually make something valuable from it. So that's how the idea of PET City actually came.
We discovered that plastics were a big problem in the environment. But what everybody knew the problem as was plastic pollution. Now, we took a closer look to find out what was the root cause of plastic waste pollution, and we discovered that it was improper plastic waste disposal. And let me make it practical. 1 kg of waste plastics is equal to 50 bottles. Now, can you imagine how many bottles is created? 30 tons. Like, just picture it, imagine. So we saw this as a problem, and a problem that really needed a solution. There was no innovation in the recycling industry. What most recycling companies would do is they would gather the waste and send it off to foreign countries to convert. So we had no innovation here, and that was where we came in.
This innovative group have found a solution to addressing the bedeviling issue of environmental pollution caused by the large mass of non-degradable plastic waste, and in effect, creating more sustainable and durable construction materials.
We met Standard Organization of Nigeria to test our bricks. They gave us validation that it's actually stronger than the conventional one by compressive strength, water absorption, and a lot of other tests. So it's really an amazing project, and we actually are excited towards the impact it will have in Nigeria and also the world at large. If you take a look at the building industry, cement is the most significant material you use, right? And replacing that with plastics, because once you're building something, you need a binding agent, that is cement. Now, we replace that binding agent for plastics. This is where the first stage of the production starts. So here we get a lot of plastics from different women that have been cooking for us. Over 20 women have gathered this amount of plastics for us. So now that he has gotten it into the sack, we just wait, then he transfers it into the production pan. So the beauty about this is we don't even have to clean these plastics because they are waste plastics. If we clean them, they're not waste plastics anymore. They are now processed materials. So production is very easy. Here is now transferring the plastics inside. As you can see, it's turning to color black. So why it's black is because the plastics are burning. So it burns to an extent where it has reached its elastic limit. So then we can start putting the sand inside. So as we keep putting plastics, we wait till everything is liquid. So right now it's getting to about 260 degrees. So as it's pouring the sand into the mixture, it gets kind of thick. So constantly we keep stirring over and over and over again. So it gets to that viscous level because we just observe to an extent where we know, okay, it's ready for us to pour inside. For us to mass produce this, we have to come up with a better production process. So we came up with a machine prototype. One of our team members, a mechanical engineering student, designed a machine that can mix the ratio to which we wanted. This machine is being heated up by an electric power supply. It consumes about 24 kilowatts per hour. So that's a lot of energy to get these plastics into the state that we want. So for now, this is what we use, and it has been working well for us. So we shake it for any air molecules to escape. From the few tests we conducted, the compressive strength was 3 times higher than the normal concrete bricks, which means you can use these bricks for bridges, for construction sites that required a lot of machines that have a lot of weight, because in different parts of certain communities, you have a lot of machines go there and they damage the road. So if you have a brick this strong in those areas, which means that it would increase the lifespan, it would increase the duration to which there is road maintenance.
Plastics are especially problematic if not collected and managed properly. They do not biodegrade and could take 500 years or more to fully decompose. Hence the need for initiatives such as this, which leaves us in a better environment, creating more sustainable building materials and shrinking unemployment figures. For Plus TV Africa, Irene Ubani.
Oftentimes when we see celebrities either on social media, television, or in person, we assume they have it all together, but we forget that they are also human. Well, here are some of the low points of some of your favorite celebrities.
Story. Once upon a time, there was a very young, agile, vivacious, spunky, unconventional Pikin you have all come to know and love as Brother Direle, Shewere, and all of the above. But you see, getting to this very point in time has been a story of hurdles. I have crossed so many hurdles. I've broken down ceilings. I've crashed barriers. I've scaled mountains, figuratively speaking. Because you know what, for every single door that was shut on my face, you know what, I found another door. For every time I was put in a box, I jumped right out of that box. I am still in an industry where I have to constantly prove myself. Not the fact that I have to prove myself to myself, but I have to prove myself every time how resilient I can be and how much of an identity and strong force that I must be. So you know what, this is my celebrity story. My story is like $1 million question rolled into one.
My story for today, which hopefully will inspire you, is that when I was 17, my mom died. And at the time, my mom was the only one that had been encouraging me as far as acting was concerned. My dad was not for it at all. And on her deathbed, she told my father, let this girl do what she wants to do. Unfortunately, he was still against it. And I went to theater school, much to his disdain. But the thing is, even though I went through a lot of stuff because he refused to sponsor me because I was doing what he didn't want me to do, I endeavored, I worked, I had many jobs. I used to do all kinds of stuff. I used to braid hair. There's a lot of stuff I do people don't know about just to make ends meet. Some days it would be between transport and food and all kinds of things. But I endeavored, I worked hard, I stuck to what I wanted to do, and finally I am here. And as far as I'm concerned, I've only just begun. But I am here, and I'm going to keep on pushing on until that Oscar sits on top of my table. So, no matter what it is that you want to do, so far it's a good thing. Don't let anyone discourage you. There will always be a way around it if you just put your head down and put in the work.
What's up, everybody? They call me Road Boy. Now, let me share a brief and a small story for you guys, okay? I used to be a young boy who never had this experience of having parents coming to pick you in school or taking you to school. Those kind of things that if you wake up in the morning as early as 6, you dress up everything by 6:30, it will take you like 1 hour, 20 minutes to get to my school. I never had that experience of waiting for a driver to come and pick me in school. That kind of lifestyle whereby even your parents will prepare breakfast for you or lunch for you to take in school. It was all about survivors, okay? But today, I want to tell you guys something. Maybe my parents took it that way for me because they never had, but I promised myself when I was young, if I ever made money, my children are not going to go through that. I'll provide everything for my kids, transportation, security, whatever, okay? So let me tell you, so whatever you're going through in life today, make sure you keep your head up because whatever you're experiencing, it will give you that power, that strength, not to allow your kids to go through that. Road Boy says so. Bless her.
Before Jennifer's Diary, I would go for, to be honest, I did not think I was going to be an actor. I just thought I was going to sing. How I got into acting, one particular day, I went to church for rehearsals, choir rehearsal, and then I got there early. My friend called that she had written my name in some audition. I was like, audition, ads free, me? I know they do. So she was like, come through, they're waiting. So because rehearsals had not started and the place wasn't so far from where I was, so I was like, okay, I'll just go and see what's up. Thereafter, I started going for auditions and auditions and auditions. Some people will say really nasty stuff to you. Instead of them to just say, no, go. They will yab you. They will make you not believe in yourself. You just feel like giving up. So I just chilled. And then one particular time, I got a BC,